Do you know what the most powerful decision you will ever make is?
Most people think it's some grand, sweeping gesture.
Right. But it's actually simply walking away silently, choosing peace over chaos with no warning and no dramatic exit.
Just letting go.
Exactly. Just you detaching from people, habits, and thoughts that once felt like home, but now feel like prisons. Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission here is always the same.
To give you a shortcut.
Yeah, to give you a shortcut to being well-informed without feeling totally overwhelmed by the sheer volume of information out there. And today we are pulling from an incredibly impactful transcript from the YouTube channel Stoic Lens.
It's titled 15 Things You Should Quietly Remove from Your Life.
And it is a profound piece of material. It really forces you to look at the invisible weight you are carrying every single day.
And it asks you to just put it down. It's heavily rooted in Stoicism, which at its core is about the dichotomy of control.
The dichotomy of control, meaning?
Essentially, it's the practice of fiercely separating what you have power over from what you don't, and then withdrawing your energy from the things you can't control.
Okay, let's unpack this. The core theme running through all of this material is that true strength isn't found in confrontation.
No, it's in control.
Right. It's in learning to let go of what weakens you and doing it without asking anyone for permission.
The Stoics understood this deeply. They recognized the immense value in releasing the things that drain us. So to make this really actionable for you, the listener, we are going to look at these 15 quiet removals through a few different lenses.
We're breaking it down into 4 main themes.
Yes. We will explore the narratives we loop in our own minds, the social armor we wear around others, the hidden habits that drain our energy in isolation, and finally, the often terrifying process of personal evolution.
I want to start with the internal clutter, specifically the stories we tell ourselves. The video identifies a major thing to remove here, which is the looping tape of the past.
That's point number 3 in their list, I believe.
Right. The transcript talks about how a conversation that ended, say, years ago, can still echo in your mind, or a mistake you made once still stings like it just happened yesterday.
We all do that.
But I have to push back a little here. Isn't analyzing our past mistakes exactly how we learn from them and grow? How do we draw the line between, healthy reflection and toxic looping?
That is the crucial distinction to make. It's the difference between remembering the past and reliving it.
Remembering versus reliving.
Exactly. Remembering involves extracting the data. You look at a past failure, you figure out what went wrong, and you update your behavior. Reliving, however, is emotional time travel.
You're just punishing yourself.
Continuously. For a debt that has already been paid, far too many people confuse self-awareness with self-punishment. We have the so what insight here.
Survival is enough.
Precisely. Which brings to mind a powerful quote from Carl Jung that the transcript highlights. I am not what happened to me, I am what I choose to become.
I love that. You cannot change the script of the past.
But you can absolutely decide what you will do with the pain. You don't owe your past anything. You've carried the lessons, and now it is time to put down the burden.
And it isn't just the past that clutters our minds. It is the future, too. Stoic Lens talks heavily about imaginary catastrophes.
Forecasting disaster after disaster.
Writing mental scripts for conversations that haven't even happened yet. I do this all the time. I will mentally rehearse a confrontation with a barista who got my order wrong.
Getting genuinely angry about it.
Getting my heart rate up to 120 beats per minute, formulating the perfect comeback while I'm literally just sitting on my couch petting my dog. I am essentially suffering twice.
Once in your mind and once in reality.
If it even happens in reality at all.
What's fascinating here is the biological reality behind that joke. And it connects directly to the perspective of Marcus Aurelius. He wrote, "Today I escaped anxiety." Or no, I discarded it because it was within me, in my own perceptions, not outside.
Because our bodies react as if it's real.
Yes, your nervous system actually does not know the difference between imagined danger and real danger. When you dive into a fabricated argument with that barista on your couch, your brain releases cortisol and adrenaline.
Yeah.
Your body responds like it is under actual physical threat.
So my stress rises, my clarity disappears, and yet nothing has actually happened in the real world. I am just at war with my own thoughts.
It's exhausting.
It is. And that brings us to what feels like the ultimate internal war, which is constant self-criticism. The material describes that inner voice perfectly. It says it sounds like a bully dressed up as a coach.
We constantly mistake pressure for motivation and self-punishment for growth. But as the video so beautifully puts it, you cannot shame a flower into blooming.
You don't yell at a wound to heal faster.
Exactly.
I love that imagery, but let's ground this. What does that look like on a random Tuesday afternoon at the office? Let's say I completely mess up a presentation in front of my boss.
Okay.
My immediate instinct is to berate myself on the drive home. How do I apply this concept in that moment?
The transcript urges you to trade judgment for curiosity. Instead of sitting in your car asking, "Why am I so stupid? What is wrong with me?" You pivot to curiosity.
You ask different questions.
You ask, what blocked me in that meeting? Was I underprepared? Was I intimidated by the room? Judgment creates a dead end of shame. Curiosity opens a doorway to a solution. You have to be on your own side.
It's funny, we expend so much of our energy fighting these internal battles that by the time we actually have to interact with other people, we are already exhausted.
We have nothing left for the external world.
Right, which leads us to the second theme, the social armor we put on to navigate the world. The material covers several things here, starting with the mask we wear for approval.
The quiet performance we put on just to be accepted.
The nods when we disagree, the polite fake smiles. But let me play devil's advocate for a second. Don't we all have to wear masks to some degree? I can't exactly bring my raw, unfiltered self to a corporate board meeting.
There is a difference between professional decorum and compromising your core values for the sake of being liked.
Professionalism is about respect and boundaries.
Yes. The mask Stoicism warns against is the fundamental altering of your personality or your morals just to fit in. The reality is, if you are liked for a mask, it means nothing.
Because they don't actually like you.
They like the character you are playing. That is why getting that approval never actually feels fulfilling. You can be surrounded by a dozen friends, yet feel entirely alone.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Stoic Lens shares a brilliant piece of advice from Epictetus. If you wish to improve, be content to be thought foolish and stupid.
It's so counterintuitive to modern culture.
It really is. The path to becoming your truest self starts with being misunderstood. When you drop the mask and stop pretending to agree with everyone, yes, you will lose some people, but you are only losing the illusion that they were meant for you.
And that ties directly into the concept of emotional begging.
That was point 4.
Right. The transcript defines this as accepting crumbs and calling it a meal, shrinking yourself to avoid conflict, staying quiet when your heart wants to scream. We somehow got the idea that love is earned, that we have to prove our worth over and over to be chosen.
I see what you mean. But isn't a long-term relationship built on compromise? When does a compromise cross the line into emotional begging?
Compromise is two people adjusting their steps so they can walk side by side. Emotional begging is you cutting off your own legs so the other person doesn't have to walk as fast.
Wow, that's a stark difference.
It becomes begging when love is treated as a transaction. If someone makes you feel like you have to work for their basic attention or their baseline respect, they aren't offering love, they are offering a test.
And you weren't made to live in a constant exam of your own worth.
Exactly.
That is incredibly clarifying. Stop chasing people who only respond when you pull away. Let your absence explain what your presence once tolerated.
Let your silence speak.
And I think that flows directly into the need to constantly explain ourselves, or the need to always be right. The video states it so bluntly. Your life is not a PR campaign.
It is not a debate stage.
You do not owe the world a constant justification for why you are the way you are. Think about the urge to win an argument in the comments section of a random internet post. What are we actually trying to achieve there?
Every time you over-explain or fight to be right with strangers, you hand over a little piece of your power. You give people the impression that your personal choices are up for public debate.
And defending a position often just protects an ego that fears being wrong.
The transcript brings in Marcus Aurelius again here. Waste no more time arguing about what a good man should be. Be one.
Just be one. Let your choices speak for you. And protecting those choices means setting boundaries, which brings us to an enormous piece of social armor, which is overcommitment.
Saying yes out of habit.
Or politeness, or just to avoid the momentary discomfort of letting someone down. We take on one more task, one more favor, even when our bodies are screaming for rest.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, Stoic Lens references Carl Jung's idea about the greatest burden a child must bear being the unlived life of the parent.
Wait, I want to pause on that quote. The unlived life of the parent. That sounds incredibly heavy. What does that actually look like for someone just trying to understand their own people-pleasing tendencies?
It is subtle but pervasive. Imagine a parent who gave up their own dream of being an artist to raise a family, or who always shrunk themselves down in their own marriage.
The child sees that.
Subconsciously, the child picks up on that suppressed energy. You might start overachieving or people-pleasing to validate their sacrifice, or because you were taught that self-sacrifice is the only way to be loved.
You take on their baggage.
You are carrying their unlived dreams or their unhealed wounds. That is where chronic people-pleasing often starts. Learning to stay small so others can feel big. But you aren't that child anymore.
Saying no is a complete sentence.
It truly is.
You don't owe anyone a spreadsheet of your energy levels to justify declining an invitation to a Friday night dinner you were too exhausted to attend. When you say yes to everything, you dilute your power.
It's funny, we spend so much time talking about the external people who drain our energy, but we completely ignore the quiet habits we perform in isolation that drain us just as much.
The hidden thieves.
Exactly. The third category of removals.
Let's shine a light on those thieves. The transcript highlights the excuse called tomorrow, as well as our small, energy-killing habits. I'll do it tomorrow, whispers so harmlessly.
It sounds like a plan.
But it actually steals years of your life. The creators point out that action doesn't require perfection. Doing 5 push-ups today is infinitely better than fantasizing about a flawless hour-long workout routine that you will supposedly start next month. I am definitely guilty of the "I'll just wait and start on Monday" fallacy.
We all are. But momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from action. You don't wait to feel motivated to act. You act, and the motivation follows.
And just as small positive actions build momentum, small negative habits silently siphon your energy.
Mindless scrolling in bed for 2 hours, skipping water all day, eating food that makes you lethargic. These operate just beneath our awareness.
Jung has a quote for this too, right?
Yes. Jung noted, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate." We accept feeling perpetually exhausted as our identity, rather than seeing it as a result of 1,000 tiny choices we keep repeating.
And one of the heaviest choices we blindly repeat is holding on to silent grudges. Holding on to resentment feels like control, doesn't it? It feels like it protects you from being naive or being hurt again.
It feels like a shield, but it is actually a poison. Resentment anchors you to the exact moment you were hurt. You replay the words, you analyze the silence, and you relive the pain over and over, while the person who hurt you is likely sleeping perfectly fine.
But doesn't forgiving them mean they get away with it? It feels like letting them off the hook.
That is the greatest misconception about forgiveness. We think it is an amnesty program for bad behavior, but the material makes it crystal clear. Forgiveness is exclusively for you.
It's not about them at all.
It is about refusing to let someone else's past actions dictate your emotional baseline today. You are allowed to put the weight down even if they never apologized. Letting go is a choice you might have to make every single morning, but each time you do, you take your timeline back.
Speaking of timelines, another hidden thief anchoring us to negative feelings is comparing our lives online.
The modern comparison trap.
It is so incredibly easy to lose track of yourself when you are flooded with curated snapshots of other people's perfect vacations, perfect marriages, or perfect careers on LinkedIn. You are literally comparing your messy, unscripted, behind-the-scenes reality to someone else's heavily edited highlight reel.
And the danger is that the brain, especially when it is tired or under pressure, doesn't filter that reality. When you look at an influencer's perfectly staged photo, your brain doesn't rationally say, "This took 40 takes in professional lighting."
It just says, "I'm failing."
It asks, "Why am I not there yet? What is wrong with my life?" But as the research reminds us, you are not behind. You are walking an entirely different path, one that is only visible to you.
So what should we use social media for then?
Scrolling should be used to learn or to laugh. It should never be used as a measuring stick for your own value.
So if we manage to stop the internal looping, drop the social masks, and reclaim our energy from these hidden thieves, what do we do with all this newly freed up bandwidth?
That leads us into the final phase the material discusses.
The pursuit of becoming. And it starts by dismantling the fake finish line of happiness. We are sold this lie that happiness lives somewhere out there in the next promotion, the new house, the next relationship.
So we grind and we chase.
Believing that once we cross that imaginary line, we will finally be whole.
But the finish line keeps moving. The moment you get the promotion, you immediately start stressing about the next tier of management. Happiness was never meant to be a destination. It's the way you walk.
It's how you live day to day.
If your self-worth depends on external achievements, nothing out there will ever be enough. Jung said, the privilege of a lifetime is to become who you truly are. It is about becoming, not accumulating.
And becoming who you truly are often requires outgrowing who you used to be. The transcript tackles the severe discomfort of feeling like a stranger in your own life.
That moment of realization.
You wake up one day and realize you've outgrown the role you've played for years among your friends or family. The funny one, the reliable one, the fixer who drops everything for everyone else.
Shedding that skin can be incredibly isolating. The video points out a harsh reality. Outgrowing an old identity can feel far lonelier than leaving a person.
Because you're facing resistance from the people who want you to stay the same.
People might say you've changed or complain that you are distant now. Your transformation forces them to confront their own comfort zones and their own stagnation.
What if my friends don't like the new me? Staying loyal to an old version of yourself out of guilt is incredibly dangerous. Just because a version of you helped you survive a certain rough chapter in your 20s doesn't mean it is the version that will help you thrive now.
You don't owe the world a consistent, unchanging performance.
No, you don't.
This raises an important question. If the life you are living right now is costing you your peace, why keep going? Who are you trying to prove anything to? This brings us to the final and perhaps most difficult, removal.
The fear of starting over.
Yes.
We look at the 5 years spent in the wrong job or the decade spent in the wrong relationship, and we mourn it as wasted time. The sunk cost fallacy grips us.
We think we have to stay because of the time we've already invested.
But what if it was just preparation? The material shares a beautiful thought from Seneca. Every new beginning comes from some other beginning's end.
Starting over is not a failure. It means you were brave enough to admit that something wasn't right for you anymore. It means stepping out of the predictable, comfortable misery and choosing to be a beginner again.
It's an act of courage.
It is an act of profound bravery and alignment. You are never going back to square one. You are returning to yourself armed with experience.
So what does this all mean? We have covered a massive amount of ground today, looking at these 15 quiet removals through the pragmatic lens of Stoic philosophy.
It's a lot to process, I know.
The mission of this deep dive was to show you that you can reclaim your power, not by adding more habits to your morning routine or buying more things, but by subtraction. Real strength isn't about being loud, confronting everyone who wronged you, or fighting the world.
It is about the quiet, intentional removal of what no longer serves you. I want to genuinely congratulate you, the listener, for taking the time to reflect on these principles today. Whether you are in the terrifying middle of starting over, or you are just trying to drop a professional mask you've worn for years, or even if you are just choosing to drink a glass of water today instead of mindlessly scrolling through social media, your journey is valid. You are doing the work, and it matters.
Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with one final thought to mull over. Throughout this deep dive, we've talked endlessly about removing things, letting go of the past, dropping grudges, shedding old identities.
Taking things away.
We spend so much of our lives absolutely terrified of the empty space that is left behind when we finally remove the noise. We rush to fill that silence with new tasks, new worries, new distractions.
Always seeking the next thing.
But what if that empty space isn't a void waiting to be filled at all? What if that quiet, empty space is actually the final destination you've been searching for all along?